Hello, and I, Divya Momaya, founder of Mentor My Board, welcome you all to this exclusive series by Free Press Journal in association with Mentor My Board on Grow with Governance. Let me first take the opportunity to introduce why this series. The focus of this series is on role of independent directors in business growth and sustainability. Mentor My Board is a platform to groom, nurture, and handhold promoters, independent directors, women directors, board aspirants with a vision to create a community of 1 lakh directors and has been providing virtual platform to the directors, mentors, and corporates. Free Press Journal is more than 9 decades old newspaper. Today, Free Press Journal has gone beyond just being a print medium as it has a strong digital presence with large online subscribers for their e-paper. Free Press Journal has been quite active on the webinar space since lockdown, and even before lockdown, Free Press Journal was actively involved into the policy level decisions discussions. And this present initiative, organized today, is the part of Free Press Journal's ongoing strategy to create awareness on various policy level topics. And in this series, we have come with the third exclusive interview with Mr. Rajat Jain, alumni of IIT IIM. I'm going to share his detailed profile very soon. Rajat has been playing an important role in India Inc. in various board capacities. He has been contributing immensely to the evaluation of board leaders. So let me introduce the moderators here, myself, Divya Momaya, and we have Jessilia from Free Press Journal, principal correspondent of Free Press Journal. So let's start with the interesting conversations with Rajatji. Now, let me first take the opportunity to introduce such a wonderful personality with us today. Rajat has been the founder of TEDup Ventures, which is a fastest growing India-based mentoring and knowledge platform, incubation hub. And about his accolades, he has been in past managing director of Xerox India, managing director of the Walt Disney Company of India, business head Sony Entertainment Television, which is Setmax, head leadership roles. He has held leadership role in SL Group, Telstra Group, and so on. Now we come to his independent directors positions and non-executive positions. So he is independent director on the Times Innovative Media Delhi Apartment Authority, which is a Times Group company, independent director on the Screw Now Tech Services, non-executive director on Kaleidoscope Events Private Limited, non-executive director on IRG Group, which is the subsidiary of RSG UK, and non-executive director on Xerox India. Apart from this, he has been very actively involved into a lot of social initiatives. He's been on the boards of a lot of advisory as an advisory role he has been handling at various social organizations. So thank you so much, Rajat ji, for accepting our invitation and being here with us. So now the first question which comes to our mind always is please tell us about your board experience, your first board journey, and how has been your board experience. Over to you, Rajat ji. Thank you.
Thank you, Divya, and thank you, Jasilia. And firstly, let me place on record my appreciation and gratitude to both Free Press Journal and Mentor My Board for having invited me for this session. As you rightly said, I sit on a few boards, including the board as an independent director on the board of Fino Payment Bank. I started this journey of boards since 2004. Firstly, as you know, in the executive director role, as the like you said, the MD of Walt Disney, MD of Xerox, and so on. I had my own startup for which I was the MD and chairman, and then from 2015 into non-executive roles as well as independent director roles. So for me, this journey has been very enriching, very a journey of continuous learning and understanding the different facets of boards, roles and responsibilities, advantages and disadvantages, of course, risks and liabilities that we hear about for independent directors and non-executive directors, and how you need to sort of deliver your duties. In particular, differences between different types of board directors: executive director, whole-time director, non-executive director, and independent director. I hold all the four roles in different kinds of companies. In a couple of them, I was executive director. I'm a whole-time director on Neva Garments. non-executive director, as you just mentioned, an ID on Secure Now, on the Bennett Coleman company, and on the bank. So overall, it's been a great experience where one has not only been able to learn but also contribute in a variety of areas, which is things like compliance, oversight over the financial reporting and numbers, and mentoring of the management and the senior leadership teams. The networks over one has built over the last 30-35 years have also been very useful. So for me, it's essentially sharing of the past experience, expertise, network, and wisdom. I think that's been my journey. Divya.
Wonderful. I think handling at the same time all the four roles at various on various boards is something wonderful to know. So how do you really switch between your roles? If you can share some lights on that or throw some light on that.
So, obviously, independent director role requires you to be, responsible for minority shareholders, responsible for, protecting their rights and making sure that compliance is right. Non-executive roles are more about advisory, helping business strategy, guiding management teams and so on. And whole-time director role is more like an executive role where you actually take on the responsibility of some part of the operation. So, because I have had the experience of an operating CEO, had the experience of the non-operating roles as well, and of late in the last 7-8 years, I have learned, the roles of an ID. I'm able to quite, seamlessly switch. So different companies, I have different roles, and obviously they are on different days. I mean, I like doing multiple things. As you mentioned, I sit on as a trustee on a couple of social NGO boards, on the board of a management school and advisory board of a couple of family-owned groups. So I quite like, this whole variety of roles.
Wow, that's wonderful. Yes, Jessilia.
Yeah, I have a question regarding that. So I just wanted to understand what could be the difference or similarities you find in, because you're right now managing a startup venture. So just wanted to understand how do you see those two roles, managing a startup and being a part of an experienced board.
Yeah, Jessilia. So, yeah, I currently run Padup Ventures, which is a mentoring and knowledge platform where we, incubate and mentor early stage technology startups and helping them building a viable business. That's what we do, and we have now mentored over 100 odd startups, and our goal is to get to 1,000 startups. So I spend roughly half my time doing this, and the other half I spend on all these other things, including some time for myself. So I think these are different things, very different things. Boards need a very measured, calm, structured, process-oriented approach where compliance is the key. Whereas managing startups needs a more entrepreneurial, risk-taking, more energetic approach. It's less of a process and structure and more about survival and sustainability, right? Board members are seen as fiduciaries who steer the organization towards some sort of sustainable future by adopting sound ethical legal governance and financial management kind of principles and policies, whereas startups are looking to solve large problems with an innovation or an innovative or a unique solution or a product or a service and creating a business out of it. So I think they need different skills, different kinds of approaches. But having said that, I think both of them, of course, need integrity. They need passion. They need good communication. They need good team management skills. So I think there are some similarities and there are obviously lots of differences. I mean, one is really a business if you're in a startup, whereas if you sit on a board, you're more in the guiding and advisory and mentoring role.
Perfect, perfect.
So,
Yes.
if considering you work with a lot of startups, if you could just emphasize on how do you see, because I'm sure you get a lot of, you get to exchange a lot of ideas with these startups that are engaging with you. So, how do you get
Yes.
take those experience to the board, and how have you been able to sync both of them?
So, I think, like I said, this is a continuous learning process. So, when you meet startups, you can hear lots of, technology applications to problems and how do you
Hmm.
solve problems.
Hmm.
They may not be businesses, they may be great ideas, they may be, passionate teams. And then you sit on a board right? So I'll give you an example. I saw a startup which was trying to solve anti-money laundering problems, AML problems for banks, and I sit on a bank board where AML is a challenge. And how do you
Okay.
get the right kind of software to get AML? And you are able to create some connections. You're able to take learning from one side to the other, right? And similarly, you bring learning from, eventually startups should become big companies. They need to be compliant. They need to build a board of themselves over a period of time. They don't need independent directors today. They may not need executive directors. These are all very small companies. But over a period of time, the DNA has to be about integrity, about ethics, about compliance, about following the rules, which you learn all those things when you sit on boards and you realize that how important they are. And you're able to communicate those to the startups in the early stage so that the right DNA begins to build up. So it's about transposing and cross fusion of not only ideas but policies, and it evolves at both sides. Yeah.
Perfect.
So
Very well said. Very well said.
yeah, if Divya wants to
Yeah.
has some questions.
Yeah. So, Rajatji, what has been your take on the current regulatory foresight on the role of independent directors, and how do you see that?
So, Divya, there have been a lot of panels and recommendations happening on a continuous basis regarding the role of IDs. It's an evolving thing in India. It's a recent thing, and it's a learning process for both the regulator and the people involved and the companies involved. I think in the initial stages it was a slow start, but over a period of time, a lot of qualified people are beginning to now join boards. And I think there is a lot to learn in this area from the developed markets as well, both in terms of corporate governance and board processes, as well as diversity and inclusion. Even today, for example, the percentage of women directors on Indian boards is very, very low, as you all know, and it's
Correct.
just about ticking the box for most companies. Similarly, in terms of risks and liabilities, separations of roles and duties of NEDs versus IDs, and the risks with each of those, and giving adequate safeguards to IDs is an area of discussion. At least I go through every time I get to an independent director conversation with a company, and I think that is an area that again needs some sort of regulatory discussion and foresight. And lastly, I think compensation for IDs and proper, let's say, reward or return for time spent is another area that has been in discussion but needs more limelight. So, as you're aware, IICA has taken some steps on training and certification of potential board directors. That also needs to be taken to the next level in terms of training the right kind of people, or training people with the right kind of skills and knowledge. And more recently, as you're aware, I think just earlier this month, SEBI has thoroughly revised its stipulations for independent directors so as to boost oversight and corporate governance across the board. So, as you know, what's happened is that they've revamped the guidelines for appointment and removal of IDs, which is very important, and strengthening their position on the various committees, remuneration committee, audit committee. And indeed, now they've mandated that IDs should have a dominant role in such panels. So I think it's a continuous process. Every year or every couple of years, there is a broad discussion, and some points get taken to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and we get some international learning. We get some Big Four involved, and these things keep changing. So I think there is a lot happening in the regulatory area.
Absolutely. Perfect. Perfect. So, my next question is, governance is a tool for the growth and not a hindrance. So, do you think governance is a hindrance, or it's a tool of growth? So, for corporate sustainability. So, what's your take on that?
So governance, to me, obviously, is to be seen as a tool for growth and not hindrance. I think there is no doubt. There is also enough research out there that shows a positive correlation between governance and economic growth, whether it is governance of a country, governance of a company, governance of a household at a personal level. So I think it should be seen and understood in the correct perspective. So what are the fundamental principles of, or let's say, good governance or effective governance? I think it is ethics, it is integrity, it is accountability, transparency, it is leadership, providing leadership, or stewardship, and it's about effectiveness, getting people doing the right roles and responsibilities. And these tools or these things can deliver good communication. You can do it through proper audits, You can do it through segregation of duties, the maker checker concept. You can do it through the right kind of charter, etc. And some things that would hinder. I think you talked about hindrances. So hinder good governance would be things like bureaucracy, inefficiency, nepotism, corruption, improper use of resources, whatever, poor planning. So I think one has to be careful that governance is seen in the right context, it is used in the right context, and actually, if it is done so, it delivers accountability, transparency, and so on, which will actually lead to growth. So I think,
Perfect.
at least I look at governance and good governance and corporate governance as one of the strong this thing of growth.
Correct. Yes, over to you, Jasilia.
Yeah. Just want, because you have been part of a lot of institutions, companies which are all which also operate internationally. Whose parent company operates internationally. So, what has the experience been at this point of time? If all the companies are global, like large companies are global, not just limited to India or that per se. So, what kind of experience does that element bring into for a board member and also for the company at large?
So yeah, I've had the good fortune of being on the boards of Walt Disney India, of Xerox India, and IRG India, all of which are subsidiaries of their global parent organizations. In all of them, we had majority of the board consisting of international executives, both from US and United Kingdom. I still haven't yet been able to join the board of a foreign company, though, but I'm on the lookout for that, and let's see. There is still some time. So my experience, dealing with international board members as compared to, let's say, their Indian counterparts is there is some differences there. Obviously the Western world and these companies in the Western world are a lot more evolved. Their board processes are a lot more evolved. Their people are a lot more experienced. Their folks are a lot more professional, and there is a lot to learn on that front. And they are absolutely to the point. Their communication is very, very clear. They come with a lot of clarity of thought. I think that comes because of their experience. They have had opportunities to sit on other international boards and so on. So they are quite straightforward. They are quite blunt and to the point, and they get to the bottom line very, very quickly. So that's something that again one learns from international people. But they are perhaps not as fast and as sharp to grasp things or to multitask, which I think we Indians are very, very good at. I've also seen global folks, to be deeply specialized in their area of expertise. So, जिस area में वो काम करते हैं, they are absolute experts, but they rarely venture out of their zone of knowledge or zone of comfort. So, as such, I think they believe a lot more in vertical expertise than horizontal knowledge, and I think we are quite happy with lots of horizontal knowledge without in-depth knowledge. Also, I think presence of foreign directors does signal, a firm wanting to go international, and it is generally seen as contributing to strengthening corporate governance because that's the understanding we have because we've had that historical past and I think we get a lot of things from the British law and so on and so forth. So a lot of these people internationally seem to add a lot of value to corporate governance.
Perfect, perfect. So,
Just
just connecting to this question, I would like to ask you one question: is that how do you see the role of independent directors is emerging in the growing economy like India? So, how this role has been evolving? I mean, you told some part of it. So, if you can throw some more light on how the role is evolving and what the future role you see in the growing economy.
Yeah, Divya, I think we are an emerging economy. We are a growing economy. I think I clearly see the role of independent directors increasing, significantly increasing over a period of time. Emerging economy, like I said, denotes a growing economy, which can only happen if corporate India delivers high growth. I think that's fundamental. The corporate India has to deliver growth, and high growth basically means strong and quality companies delivering strong results on a consistent basis. And to have strong and quality companies, you need to have good quality of team, of promoters, of board of directors that steers these organizations. And I think this board of directors should be well balanced and well governed, where the role of independent directors now comes in and becomes crucial. Good governance, has positive correlation, as I said earlier, with economic growth, which has been proven. And for good governance, independence is the key prerequisite, which can bring in transparency, can bring in fairness, ethics, integrity, broader skills and knowledge, good direction, guidance, which is good for the company. So the role of IDs in an emerging economy is to grow, right? Is to grow these companies. Diversity and equality and inclusiveness are other key pillars to be focused upon, and these are also being addressed in India, progressively by the law and by action of people. But I think we are a long way to go in getting true independence. Appropriate selection and training processes, and adequate and appropriate compensation mechanisms for independent directors. All these things, like I said earlier, we need to do some work. So therefore, all these recent changes of SEBI, I think, have been well received and well framed.
Correct. Absolutely.
So,
Go ahead, Jessilia.
yeah. So, what would your advice be to people who are trying to executives are trying to enter the board or become a board member? What would your advice be to them?
So I think people who want to become members of board obviously need to understand the framework of governance, understand corporate law and company law, understand what are their roles and responsibilities and duties that they are expected to deliver. Obviously, understand the amount of time that needs to be spent, and and how they will get remunerated or compensated, and if it makes sense for them, and most importantly, understand the risks that they are taking by being on boards. It is very important to know that how you need to behave on the board, how you need to see the board process work, how you need to protect your interests through DNO insurance and all those other things. I think anybody who wants to get onto this journey of being on boards needs to train himself, in a reasonable sense. Today, there are enough programs by IICA, by IOD, by some international organizations, Hunt Partners here and there, who do these programs where they train you to become an independent director, where they build your awareness about what you're walking into, how you're expected to contribute, how you're expected to leverage your experience, your expertise, your network, your wealth of knowledge, your wisdom to help the interest of the company you're going to join. So, I mean, these are all the hard facts. Next, you need to be able to, build relationships. You need to be able to treat others with respect, with mutual respect and humility. I think you need to be able to guide and mentor management teams. You need, and there's nothing wrong in saying I don't know this. I think you need to be constantly willing to learn, and don't see it merely as a compliance exercise, but as an exercise that adds value while complying with the laws of the land. I think these are some of the
Absolutely.
things people must be careful and think about when they want to join board.
Yes. So basically, because you are into the startup venture also, so I just wanted to follow it up with another question. Is at present with a lot of emphasis on for example, one of the companies just got listed, the startup, and there was a lot of attention around it. So I think there's a lot of optimism. Do you see there's a lot of optimism around startups at this point of time? Okay, there is a journey that they can reach, like how do you see that level of the level of optimism among them?
No, no, I'm very optimistic. I think we are going to see a lot more action about startups and people going to listing or M&As. I think India is clearly on the growth path. I mean, no doubt about it. If you look at the last 3-4 years, how despite COVID, the activity in the startup space has increased dramatically. Even today, we are not out of COVID, but there are challenges around COVID, third wave, all of those things. What's happening in the US and everywhere else, and what's happening in Kerala today. But the fact is that startups take a long-term view. They are building a business. They get the right quality of investors, and as they get investors, they need to get into corporate governance, and then of course they go and deliver value by listing. You mentioned this startup that recently got listed. and it has delivered tremendous value to all its stakeholders. So I'm quite bullish about the future of, and I think the future of India and the future of startups in India and the future of tech startups in India and the future of people like us helping tech startups build a business. So I think the
Wonderful.
point, Cecilia, here is that this is a journey that we are all on, and I think it's going to be a beautiful journey. There will be ups and downs, of course, but it is a long term 10, 15-year journey where I think you still hear India will grow at 8, 9, 10%. This cannot happen without activity in the startup space, because startups is where big companies will eventually form. Today Zomato and all these companies are large companies employing hundreds of thousands of people. Uber employing 5 7 lakh people. ये कहाँ से आएंगे? They will come from new startups over the next 10 years. So startups will create economic activity, they will create employment, they will create job growth, and all these things are important for the country.
What according to you makes a great board? A combination, a perfect combination. What according to you can be a great board?
Yeah, okay. So a great board is is a balanced team of people with complementary skill sets, different kinds of skills, and a culture that allows them to work together. So I think it's one is skills and the second is culture, which allows you to be comfortable with each other and make effective decisions for the company. I think it has diversity within its members and diversity with its talents. The key attributes for such a board will be mutual trust and respect, diversity, strong network, strong listening skills, transparency, and so on. And great boards, are those who know what information they need to make decisions, and they insist on asking and getting that information in time. And they also ensure that senior teams develop a robust reporting framework, because the boards depend on the information that management teams provide to them, and therefore they have to make sure that they get that information in time. It is accurate, it is complete, it is understandable. And last point, I think, is great boards are boards where independent directors are truly independent.
Such a
Yeah.
wonderful, insights from you on the closure. So thank you so much. So over to you, Jasilia,
Yeah.
for the closing remarks. And before that, Rajatji, thank you so much for being here with us, sharing your wonderful thoughts with us. So we look forward for more and more interactions with you. Over to you, Jasilia.
Sure. Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you very much, both of you.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Rajat, for giving us this opportunity to hear you and understand what's happening in this space. And on behalf of Free Press Journal and Mentor My Board, I would like to mention that this is like a series that we are having with independent directors and directors to understand what's happening in the space and helping others evolve. So,
Okay.
from this session, we had right now, I would like to point out to a few key points that you mentioned. You mentioned
Mhm.
how important governance is for growth, and second, the point of the startup that you said that you're bullish about all the startups going forward, and that India is sought to grow, and there's no way startups are going to be behind this, and how tech companies are going to be the game changer here.
Future,
And
yeah.
also, there's another part that you highlighted about governance having a correlation with growth. I think many people should take this as a learning lesson, and for many startups who want to grow, maybe this would be a stepping start for a foundation stone for them to understand, like initially if they start about with governance, maybe going forward that would be imbibed in them as their in their DNA. And again, I would like to thank you for being part of this series and sharing your views on this session. Thanks a lot.
So thank you both of you. I think it was a delightful session. I hope it was useful for you. I really enjoyed being with both of you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks.